As you can see, I have the, this is another switch. I have the ignition switch out of the car. I've been meaning to get to this project for a long time, but I've only recently been able to figure out exactly the way, which way to approach it. First problem I had was that I did not have the ignition key, so that makes it difficult to get the tumbler assembly out of the body or the housing of the ignition. What basically the goal is to, what you want to do is, if you can see this little round detent here, when you have the proper key, if you turn it to the on position, you can push this in and slide it. This locks into this hole here in the housing of the shaft. When you turn it to the on position, push this in, the tumblers come right out. If you don't have the keys, what I did was I took an object. I didn't use this nail. I used a different, like a screwdriver, but it had a pointy end on the end of it, almost like a pick. But it had a strong point on it. Just drive the post through on this piece with a hammer, and it should, if you bend it hard enough, or if you destroy the innards of the tumblers hard enough, it should stay in, should stay detented, and it just pulls out. So that's step one, getting this out. You can see this is pretty mangled. Again, the key broke off, so that's worthless. I need to buy a new one. Next off, when I did cut this out of the car, and if you do the same, make sure that you leave enough wire on the end of this. Had I needed to do it again, I probably would have left 3 to 5 inches so that I could then remove the armored cable on the workbench instead of under the dash. Move the rest of this and reuse the wire that's in it. Now that I've cut it too short, I don't really have enough room to reuse the wire, so I need to get into this tumbler housing somehow. So what I'm going to do, what I've started to do, I don't know if you can see, let's see, I'm using this nail. Initially I pried the edge using this armored coil housing. I pried the edge or the lip off of this crimped edge here, bent it up just to get enough to where I could then use, let me readjust this camera here, to where I could then use this nail to drive at an angle similar to this with a hammer, drive this lip up. And it's coming along pretty nicely. I'm using a nail that has a pretty sharp four-sided point on the end of it. And that's working well. It's peeling this edge up very nicely. As you can see, I've gotten roughly 1/3 of it completed. And this lip is strong enough that you'll be able to bend it back down with a hammer, or maybe I'll just flip the nail head over and use it to bend it in like this with a hammer. But basically that's where I am. I'll have to post another video once I get this all apart, but that's the progress so far.